Maybe I'll just have this with lunch before I go to work. Have this with lunch. I'm not going to eat the book. Hello my loves, and thank you for joining me. It's Kirsten and we're at the start of another weekly reading vlog, and I am desperate for some fantasy. So last week I read two really good books, but they were both not within the fantasy genre, which is fine, but I'm kind of craving fantasy right now. So we're kicking off the May TBR and we're going to be starting with The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence. I have to admit, most of my May TBR is fantasy, so it's really good that I'm in a fantasy mood. But yes, this is the second book in, I don't know what trilogy this is. No idea what the trilogy is called. Oh, hang on. Book 2 of the Library trilogy. Well, that would make sense. But the first one was The Book That Wouldn't Burn. I loved that book last year. It was one of my favourite books of the year. Really enjoyed it. We've got two perspectives going on. Livara, who was out on the dust until something terrible happened to her family. She's having to go to the main city and she discovers this library and starts working there. And then you have Ivara, who lives within a library with his kind of like adopted family that they've kind of been thrown together, so they see each other as brothers and sisters and stuff. They've been there for years. They're kind of out of time in a way, and you see how these two characters end up interacting. I really enjoyed it. It's definitely my favourite book by Mark Lawrence. I'm really intrigued to see how this second book continues on, because the first book, the ending, really got to me. Oh, it got me in the feels so much. So I'm really looking forward to seeing where this one's going to go. It is about 100 pages shorter than the first book. It's kind of common for Mark Lawrence. I was talking to Abby about this and she reminded me that actually his Red Sister trilogy, which I did read, but since unhauled because I was never really going to reread it, started off the same way where each book got smaller. See if the third book ends up being even shorter. Hopefully not, because I really like this world and I do think it's Mark Lawrence's best writing. I really am looking forward to getting straight into this one. So that is the plans that I'm going to be starting off. I would like to start reading this today. So that is what I want to start my month off reading. I mean, technically we're at the end of April, but it's only a few more days. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. I can't wait to get back to our characters. Where it left off was definitely a bit of a cliffhanger, so I'm really looking forward to seeing where it goes from here and the different things we're going to be exploring, plus a library setting. Like, come on, it's so good. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I haven't read the synopsis for this. I don't really want to, so we're just going to go into it and see what happens, because I'm really excited. So that is the physical book I'm going to be reading for this week. For my ebook, I'm not sure. I did start My Husband. I got this on the Libby app. So it's My Husband by Maud Ventura. This is actually translated from French and it is translated by Emma Ramadan. I picked this one up because I've seen a couple people reading this. Like Jan was one recently, I think was it Jan? Yeah, pretty sure it was on her Instagram stories or something. She read this one. A few other people that seem to really be liking this one. Definitely want to give this one. I mean, I've started it where I'm 10% in. I am up to page 31 and it's a short ebook. It's 293 pages, so it's very short, but it just seems really interesting. It's a bit more of a thriller, and we're looking at this woman who is obsessed with her husband to the point where she refuses to name him. It's actually a sentence in there in the book is saying my husband doesn't have a name. He is my husband, my possession. And I'm like, whoa. Wow, okay. But with this is split across a week, so we're having a week in her life, and so far I have read all of Monday and I'm starting Tuesday, and we are seeing how she is so obsessed with him, all the little things that she does, the way that she obsesses over his behavior constantly, the way that she sets up things that if he doesn't do things or he doesn't love her as much, and you can really see how toxic this relationship is. It's so interesting. So I definitely think, you know what, yeah, I'm going to carry on with this one. I do have another ebook I need to read this month, which is for an Instagram book club, which is What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez. Oh, sorry, I've butchered that pronunciation. But this one is set in Egypt and I'm really looking forward to getting to this one. But I do have till the 30th, is it the 30th of May, to read this one. So I might, I think I'll finish My Husband first, then I'll go to What the River Knows. So that's the plan. So, and that, I think it'd be a nice break. As much as I am in a fantasy mood, My Husband is really, really readable. It's also one that's really easy to pick up and put down. Yeah, I'm thinking about doing that one. Any traveling and stuff that I do, that would be good to read. And then at home I'm going to be reading The Book That Wouldn't Burn. I'm very excited. If for somehow I manage to get this finished really early, then I've got another book lined up that I can read, but we'll see, because I've also got a busy few days. So I do have 3 more days off. So I've got today, Monday and Tuesday off work, and then I'm back to work Wednesday for 7 days. So we'll see, because in between doing all of this and like normal life stuff, I am moving, so I'm going to be going back and forth to my flat to move things over slowly. So yeah, we'll see how much reading and stuff I actually get done in these next couple weeks. So hopefully towards the end of May everything will be done and then we can get back up. But for the next couple of weeks you might see my reading slow down a little bit just because I'm so busy. So we'll see what we get up to. But I think that's it for this rambly introduction. We've said the books we're going to be reading, got an idea of what we're doing. So yeah, let me know, how have you been? Or what have you been up to this week? You know, what have you been reading? All of these different things, let me know. But I think for now I'm actually going to wrap up another video, and then I've got 2 videos I want to film this morning, and then we'll see where the day takes us. Evening. We are at the new flat. I'm not going to be showing you around because I'm still in the midst of actually doing stuff for this flat. I need to organise a lot of things. I'm just spending this evening because my partner's going to come and see the flat, and I'm just tidying up a few things, but I wanted to do a reading update. So here we are. Also, if the sound quality is a little bit echoey and stuff, I'm in a pretty much empty flat. That's why. We have The Book That Broke The Book That Broke the World. This I'm really enjoying. I've started annotating. I'm up to chapter 13, page 92. I am loving this book so much. But it does start off with 2 completely different characters. I've got hair in my eye. And it does say at the start of this, Mark Lawrence did a little overview of what happened in the first book, which I found really helpful because he does say, you know, this is so that I don't have to do lots of repetition. And so he just chucks you straight into it. And we meet 2 characters that we've never met before. We only have perspectives on one of them, and that is Kelsha, and you have her brother Hallet, and they are slaves. It's a really horrible predicament that they're in, but they can see ghosts or like angels, and it's really, really interesting. And at first I wasn't sure how this was going to connect to the first book. I was really intrigued but also a little bit hesitant, and then we start getting perspectives from our main characters from the first book, and it all makes sense. I love what Mark Lawrence has done with this. I'm really enjoying it. I'm straight back into the world. I have lots of annotations, and the tabbing system I'm using, hang on a minute, I'm holding my camera so bear with me. Oh yeah, I don't even have it written down. We've got different blues, so it matches the dust cut jacket, which I don't have on. This is a bit of a mess, but we're going with it. So I have dark blue for quotes that I really like. I have light blue, things about oppression, treating others different just because they look different. And then I also have this like orangey colour, and that is for anger, resentment, and wanting revenge. It's so good. I'm really, really enjoying this book. Like I say, the first couple chapters, I was intrigued. I was liking the perspectives, but I just was a bit hesitant on how this was all going to come together. And then it does, and it works so well. I'm really enjoying this one. So I do plan on reading a little bit more while I'm here waiting for my partner. Saying that, I also want to sort out some of the piles of books that I've got everywhere. I'll show you a little sneak peek of some of the books that we've moved. Like I did a massive chunk today. My mum helped me with that, so that was great. So yeah, I kind of want to sort out those. I've also got some fruit that I just want to sit here and eat. So I can't quite decide what I want to do with this evening. And then I'm going over to my partner's house, and yeah, it'll be a nice chill evening. But honestly, the book that broke the world, I'm so intrigued. I'm loving how it's all connecting though. There's so many like little snippets and theories that I've got. Oh, that was another tab I did another blue, like a purpley blue, for theories that I've got, because I do have a theory for this, and I'm really enjoying it, just in terms of who certain characters are and how it's all going to work together. I have an inkling of where this is gonna go, and I'm so excited to see whether I'm right or not. It's just so good. Like, I'm really enjoying this. And like I said, Mark Lawrence honestly was an author that I was a bit like, oh, you're a bit hit and miss. I might pick up this book eventually when I was first seeing the book that wouldn't burn, and I was like, maybe when you're in paperback. And I'm so pleased it came as part of the Lot Library subscription, and that's the reason why I read it, and it was just so good. And this one, I was hesitant. I was a bit worried that it wouldn't hold up, but so far it really is, and I'm really enjoying this, and I like the direction it's going, and I like the themes that we're exploring, and just, it's so well done. Like, I really am enjoying this. This is so well written. Like, I really like the writing style of this one. It seems a lot more purpley prose compared to his other works, which I'm really liking about it. And just in general, I'm having such a good time with this. Apart from that though, I don't have loads to update you with. I did start planning out my bookshelves, which I filmed a little bit of, just in terms of how I want to do my bookshelves for when I'm here, because I don't actually know. I have mine by genre at the minute, and that is generally what I go by, but do I want to change that? Probably not. I'm going to stick with genre. I don't know how I want them to be on the shelves. Like, I'm thinking about the shelves that will be in video shots, and what books do I want on those, and there's lots to think about. So I spent a morning doing that, then I spent the evening reading a good chunk of this, and then today it's just been non-stop. I've been setting up utility bills. We've done 4 trips to the flat today with my mum. Well, my mum's car, we did 3, then my sister helped out with the last one, and it's just been so full on. I just don't know where the time's gone. The day has just disappeared. Like, I haven't done any editing or anything, but thankfully, in regards to YouTube stuff, I'm actually ahead. I am nice and comfortably ahead as well, so I don't have to stress about trying to do the move on top of the amount of YouTube work that I normally do every single day. So I'm really pleased with that. The only thing that I'm focusing on at the minute is weekly reading vlogs, like filming updates for those and editing those, and obviously the moving vlog, but the moving vlog I can film and then just edit when I'm done. So that's really good. Like, I'm so pleased I got ahead so that I don't have to stress and I can just get this all done. Honestly, the whole process has gone super fast, but I'll talk about more about that in the actual moving vlog. It's enough to say that I'm here this evening. I'm gonna read, maybe try and read 50 more pages of this, and then head over to my partner's, spend a bit of time with him, and then the same again tomorrow, because I've got one more day off before work. So hoping to get a good chunk. And because this is a shorter book, it's only just over 300 pages. I think it's 380 pages, so just under 400, I should say. The fact that I got almost 100 pages read in one sitting, like, I didn't want to put this book down. If I can keep going like that, then I'll get this book finished up really quickly, but with going back to work, might slow down the reading a bit. I haven't actually read any more of My Husband either. Just been too busy today. I've been with family all day, so I haven't actually read any more of that. I do want to get into it, but it's also one of those books where I don't mind putting it down. Like, I know when I get into it, I'm going to enjoy it, but if I don't read it, I'm not bothered either. Like, it's not one I want to DNF, but it's an easy read, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, it engrosses me when I'm reading it, but I think I'm so early in, it's not a book that I'm like, oh my god, I can't stop reading. Whereas this one, I really just want to get back to reading it. So you know what, I'm going to do a quick update for the moving vlog because I'm in a chatty mood, and then I'm going to sit here and eat my fruit and read my book until my partner gets here, and I think that sounds absolutely lovely. I had a really busy day yesterday, but it also was really nice. So I started out the day going to buy a toaster and a microwave for the flat, which was really good. That's all in the move-in vlog when that eventually gets done. And then I went back to the flat, took the toaster, not the microwave, because I don't know why I didn't think about it, but that was a lot heavier than I thought it was going to be. So my partner's taken that back to his place and he'll bring that round closer to the time. So I was like, cool. It was so heavy. But yeah, so we decided to go to the flat, dropped off the toaster, and actually spent a couple of hours there just deep cleaning. I already did some cleaning when I first started moving stuff in, but I really wanted to do a bit more deep cleaning, so like cleaning of the oven, cleaning of all like the windows and everything, just to make it feel more mine, and started organising some more stuff, and it was really nice. At the end of it, I'm really happy with the progress that has been made. I just feel like it's a lot more mine, which I'm really, really happy with, and also just kind of getting an idea of where I want certain things and stuff. It was a good day. I was planning to do another run of books yesterday, but decided against it because I was just too tired at this point. Like, I'd done so much to the point where I'm going to be taking some books today before work, so I'm back to work. But once I've taken those, I'm down to about 256-ish books. I say ish because I do have a package, so we'll open that in a bit. But yeah, so it's getting there. We are hitting the halfway point for the books, which is great. Yeah, it's been a lot. We've done so much good progress, which I'm really pleased with because I really wanted to get as much done as I could over my days off, and now I'm back to work and it's going to be an intense few weeks because I've got so much planned. Then what was even better is because I decided I'm not going to go back to the flat yesterday, I just spent the evening reading, and it was really, really nice. So actually I have lots of reading updates because I did a few different things. I think I'll start off with the physical book and then we'll get to talking about the 2 other books that I'm reading. So the book that wouldn't burn, I read such a good chunk of this yesterday, so I'm now up to chapter 31, page 242. I did read a little bit at the flat, as we saw. It was really, really nice, but I only spent about 30 minutes reading, so I got like 25-ish pages read, and then I started organising stuff. So yesterday I really wanted to make a good dent in this book, and I'm so pleased I did. I think I've got just over 100 pages left to go of this book. It's so good. I'm really enjoying it. So I was thinking about this yesterday. Can I say it's as good as the book that wouldn't burn? I don't know. I don't think so. I feel like the book that wouldn't burn had this extra magic about it, whereas this one, it's still really, really good. I'm still really enjoying it. I'm liking the fact that we have different perspectives from different characters, that one's new, but the others you met in the first book, but you didn't get perspectives of. So I'm really, really pleased we get those. What I loved about the first book is Livara and Eva's perspective. Like, I loved them as characters, and this book, because you're getting more of the other side characters, things that happened which I can't talk about because of spoilers, you kind of lose that a little bit. It's still really good though. Like, I'm really enjoying this. I'm really intrigued to see where the plot's going. I'm having so much fun with annotating with my theories and everything. Like, it's still a really good book. I'm still really enjoying it, but I don't think it's quite as good. So like, if I did a star rating, for instance, the book that wouldn't burn would be 5 stars, and the book that broke the world so far would be like a 4.5. It's like that tiny bit different, but I'm really, really enjoying it. I'm having so much fun with this. It's just, I love this. I love this series. I'm really intrigued to see where it's all going to go. I love the different look at war. It's not like it's a simple case of black and white, good versus evil. There are people involved. You have different thoughts, emotions, feelings. There are good people on both sides of the conflict, and it really is just a matter of perspective, and I love that that gets explored in this book. I find it so fascinating. I also find the kind of magic system interesting. I feel like this is kind of also sci-fi leaning in what it does with the different portals that change with different timelines, different worlds, and it's so complex and you don't really understand it, but then nobody really understands it. It's a very soft magic system. It does what it needs to do and nobody fully understands it, and nobody's going to know the ins and outs of it completely, and I love that about it. I also love the different characters, like the different races we have in here. So you do have humans, but you also have different beings, and I like the way that's explored and the way that we treat others because we see them as lesser than ourselves. I enjoy that. I enjoy how that can happen on both sides of the conflict. Again, it just depends on where you stand. I am just enjoying this book. It is so good. It is so much fun. Honestly, I sat there and I read for like 3 hours straight yesterday without moving. It was so good. Like, I was so invested in this book, and that's what I'm enjoying about it so much, is that it does really pull me in, and I just find myself compelled to keep reading. Like, I'm enjoying this so much. So I'm really hoping to finish it this week, but like I say, I am back to work and I am busy, so we'll see if I can fit in reading time before work. I might bring this to work, maybe read it a little bit while I'll see what I can do, because I don't tend to normally bring physical books to work. I mean, we've only got just over 100 pages, so I think if I can try and read 25 pages a day, we should. No, I'm gonna have to read more than that. What day are we on? We're on Wednesday. So we've got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, potentially stretch out to Sunday. I suppose, yeah, if we read about 25 pages a day. We'll see, basically, is what I'm saying. Maybe I'll just have this with lunch before I go to work. Have this with lunch? I'm not going to eat the book. I can read the book with lunch. We'll see. I'll get it done. But I'm really enjoying this one. And I knew that this month my reading would be a lot slower. So like, if it wasn't for the fact that I'm moving, I would have finished this ages ago and probably be in the middle of a second book right now, but that hasn't happened. So I'm trying to structure my reading in the books that I have to read. This is one I just really wanted to read. The next book, physical book after this, I think is going to be my library pick, because I'm going to have to take that back to the library. And then after that, I'm probably going to make a start on Daughter of the Forest, because that's a Discord book club pick, or potentially a murder mystery, because I did want to do the murder mystery reading week as a themed weekly vlog that I wanted to do in May. It will be one of those two books, but I think the rereads, they're going to happen right at the end of the month now rather than at the start. Like, I wanted to do a reread week for my birthday week, but I don't think that's going to happen now, because it's going to be one book a week is probably what I'm aiming at physically. Ebooks, whole different story. So let's segue into that, shall we? So I have been reading My Husband, which is on Libby. Hang on, let me get it up. Okay, so I'm now 13% in. Didn't read much more of this. I'm going to be reading this when I'm at work. Like, it's going to happen when I'm at work. My lunch break at work is going to be reading this book, and I imagine I will fly through this, so I'm absolutely fine with that. Still really enjoying it. Still think it's going to get a little bit like sinister in tone with just the toxicity of it all. Not much more to add, because I literally read like maybe 5 phone pages yesterday. So this is going to be getting finished when I'm at work over the next couple of days. Easily done. And then I did start an audiobook, which is really rare for me, but because of all the moving and everything going on, I am busy spending time obviously cleaning, taking stuff to the flat and things. It's a lot easier just to have an audiobook in. So what I did yesterday was actually listen to a lot of YouTube while I was there, which was good, but then I was thinking to myself, it would be good to have an audiobook. So I checked what Libby had just available, and there's a couple that I've put on hold. I've got Yumi and the Nightmare Painter by Brandon Sanderson, because that is a book I physically own, so that would be good to get that read, but I didn't want to read it just yet because I'm reading a fantasy book. So instead I started with Poor Things by Alistair Gray, and this one came to my attention because of Willow, because she was recommending books that if you like Frankenstein, read these, and that was on here. So it was one of the books that she talked about, so I then decided, you know what, it's on here, it's available for me to listen to straight away, that's what I'm going to do. And so yesterday when I came back and I was starting to like pack things to bring to the flat today, I started listening to this. I'm only 3% through, it's 9 hours long, so I imagine that is what is going to keep me busy going back and forth to the flat and like organising things before work this week, because I don't actually read this on like 2x speed or things like that. Now I do find with audiobooks that I don't retain the information as easily as if I read it with my eyes, which is why I don't actually listen to them, because I mean there's a couple of exceptions. One of them is Lord of the Rings. Loved that. Loved the first book as an audiobook. Honestly, could have continued with the second book of this, realising that. We'll probably do that after Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. Or like rereads and stuff, I feel like would be fine for audiobook. For brand new books, I feel like they're a little bit harder because I don't retain information that I hear as easily as if I see them. So we'll see. At the start of this though, I've listened to like the introduction, like the first bit of the book, so like there's introduction, prologue and all of that. It sounds really interesting. We're following this person who found this manuscript of sorts, or like this journal of this person where the science in it, they're like, oh my god, is groundbreaking, but also is morally wrong. And I know the base of this is something to do with, actually let me get an actual synopsis up. I've been talking about a lot of Frankenstein. You should read these if you like Frankenstein books because of Willow's video, and I really enjoyed it, and I ended up buying quite a lot of them. I say a lot of them, I bought 2. But right, okay, let's get the synopsis up. So Poor Things has actually recently been made into a film, I think. Okay, so it says here, Poor Things is a postmodern revision of Frankenstein that replaces the traditional monster with Bella Baxter, a beautiful young erotomaniac brought back to life with the brain of an infant. Godwin Baxter's scientific ambition to create the perfect companion is realised when he finds the drowned body of Bella, but his dream is thwarted by Dr. Archibald's jealous love for Baxter's creation. The hilarious tale of love and scandal that ensues would be the whole story in the hands of a lesser author, which in fact it is, for this account is actually written by Dr. Archibald. For Gray, though, this is only half the story, after which Bella, aka Victoria, has her own say in the matter. I mean, it sounds really interesting. To be fair, Willow sold it to me, and then I saw it on Libby app and I thought, okay, cool, we're gonna give it a try. So I'm 3% into that. Going to the flat today, I'm going to be listening to that because it's an easy thing. I can put my phone away. I don't need to be holding it to watch the YouTube videos. I can just have that in my pocket, carry all the stuff I need, listen to it while I organise things and stuff. And I think by doing that, I will get that finished. And then I'll probably move on to Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, or potentially even Lord of the Rings, the second one, the Two Towers. That's the plan in May, is to try and get couple of audiobooks done, which does mean my physical reading is probably going to be lesser. If I fall behind on anything such as the Discord pick, they'll just have to be pushed into June, and unfortunately that's the way it is. I mean, I have prioritised things, so my main goal is to read 4 books this month, 4 physical books, which I think I can do. That I think I can manage. 1 book a week should be absolutely fine, and one of them is particularly short, so we'll see how it goes. It just means that the video plan that I really wanted to do of the Murder Mystery Reading Week, that actually, maybe I'll push that to the end of the month after the move, and we'll just do that. It will either be in the last week of May or the beginning of June, and we'll do it something like that. We'll sort it out. Anyway, that's me overthinking things, but now we have a package, and I do believe I know who this is from because I did have a comment left by Uniquely DJ saying, oh my god, I missed your birthday and I've sent you a gift, which was really lovely, but they were watching a video that I did last year, so actually this is really on time. But let's check, because it could be something else. Oh, okay, there's 2 books in here. Okay, so we have this but no gift note. Oh, it's always annoying when Amazon do that. Thank you. So I'm assuming that this is from Uniquely DJ because you told me in the comments, so thank you so much. If I've got that wrong and it was somebody else, then just pop it in the comments below and let me know, but thank you so much. Okay, so we have The Crow Garden by Alison Littlewood, and this one, honestly, this one's been on my wish list for ages. It looks really cool though, I really like the cover. So this one is, when Nathaniel takes up his new position as a mad doctor at Craigthorne Manor, the proprietor, more interested in phrenology and his growing collection of skulls than his patient minds, hands over the care of his most interesting case. Mrs. Victoria Holston's husband accuses her of hysteria and says he will pay any price to see her well, but she accuses him of something far more terrible. Nathaniel becomes increasingly obsessed with the beautiful Mrs. Holston, but is she truly delusional, or is she hiding secrets that should never be uncovered? I love books like this. I think they're so interesting. I think they can explore some really interesting themes, especially because asylums were used for women, not just women that needed the help, but also women that were just seen as a problem, and so their fathers, husbands would put them in there so that they didn't have to deal with them anymore. So I always find books like this really interesting to read. And then the second one is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. I have read this one, but I really wanted this English Library edition. I have a different edition and I don't like it as much, so I'm really glad that I've got this edition. I love these editions. They're so much fun. I really like reading from these ones. I find them really easy to read from. So thank you so much for both of these books. You truly didn't have to. I feel so spoiled. And these will probably be coming with me today to the new flat. So thank you so much. I'm really, really excited to read The Crow Garden. Eventually I want to reread Dr. Jekyll and Miss Hyde. I did really enjoy this one, which, if you don't know, is one of our gothic classics that inspires a lot of things. We're following a professor who ends up creating this potion of sorts that allows him to separate his rational brain from his more animalistic, baser urges, with disastrous consequences. Really love it. I love books that explore this sort of thing. I love my gothic classics. So yeah, thank you so much. And this has been a really long update because I'm just in a really rambly mood. But thank you for putting up with it. And I'm going to do some lunch, start packing some bits to take for tomorrow to the flat. And yeah, I'll probably stick on the audiobook while I'm busy doing all of that because I'm really intrigued by Poor Things. I think it's going to be a really interesting one. Right, okay, let's get on with this day. Which actually, have I been saying that a lot? I feel like I've been saying that a lot lately. I don't know. Good morning. I've had a really good reading couple of days actually, and just in general it's been a really busy time because, as we know, moving and stuff, but it's been really good at the same time. Feels really productive getting everything done. Today I'm not going over to the flat, I am just going to spend a bit of time editing this vlog, otherwise it's never going to get up on time. So we need to focus on doing that today. But first, let's get into all the books because I've made progress with all 3 books and I'm really happy with them. So the book that broke the world, I am up to chapter 42, page 328. So I've literally, I think I've got, how many pages do I have left? Oh, okay, I have exactly 40 pages left. So I want to finish that before I go to work today, which I think I can manage today. So yeah, I would really like to finish this one. I am really enjoying it. I think I stand by my comment of this book is good, but it's not as good as the first book. I do think it suffers a little bit from middle book syndrome, just in the fact that we're getting all of our characters to a certain point, and that's what this book is doing. And it's good because I like the characters anyway, and I find the world fascinating. But is there much else beyond that? Not really. So I do feel like this suffers with a little bit of middle book syndrome, but I'm still really enjoying it. I can just see that some people may not enjoy it as much and be a little bit let down because of that. For myself, I'm enjoying it for the characters. I'm finding it really interesting and entertaining to read. And when I sit down and read it, I don't want to stop reading it. So I'm still having a really good time with this. And like I say, plan on finishing this one today. We then have My Husband, which I've just been loving. I'm now 71% of the way through. I've got about 90 pages left and oh, I love it. It's so good. There is something about French books that I tend to really like. I don't know what it is, but I have yet to pick up a French book that's been translated that I haven't enjoyed, whether that's a classic book or a more contemporary book. I've just really enjoyed them. So if you have any more books that have been translated from French, please let me know in the comments below because I'm really enjoying them. Like, I just find I always have a good time. I find the way that they're written just to be so beautiful and I really am enjoying it. This one, we have the toxicity of the actual relationship. We have our main character that is obsessed with her husband and how she sets about these things, like she measures his love depending on different things that he does or says, and depending on how much he does will depend on how much he actually loves her. She also views days as colours, which I find really interesting, and so she has a preconception of how that day is going to be. I don't know, there's just something so interesting about her psyche that I'm really enjoying. And then on top of that, I like the fact that she talks about translation a lot because she's an English teacher, so she teaches her French students English. She talks a lot about how certain things can get lost in translation, that a sentiment in English you just can't get in French, and the different ways that you could translate it, but how it always kind of misses some essence of that original phrase. And I just find the passages of that really interesting. I really like that. I don't know, I guess I've just always been interested in words, but I really am enjoying those parts of this book as well. And just the overall feeling of this being someone that is so intense, and she knows that she's so intense. She knows that she has this obsession with love and it's not healthy, but at the same time she can't stop it. She doesn't know how to stop it. She doesn't know how to live without it. And you know, it's just, I find it so compelling, so interesting. And some of the things that she says, I mean, to the extremes, but some things I feel like I could relate a little bit, like that worry of, oh, what if my partner finds somebody else? What does this message mean? Like they've only put a one word rather than a normal sentence that they would normally do, or their behaviours changed slightly. And yes, this is way to the extreme, but I'm pretty sure majority of us have been in relationships, have had those worries. So it's one that I can kind of relate to, but just see the extremes that it's been taken to. And I'm just really enjoying it. Like, I'm having a really good time with this book. So I'm hoping to finish this on my lunch break today. And then, poor thing, I've listened to actually quite a chunk more, because when I spoke about this, I spoke about how I was going to be starting it, how I'd started like the introduction. I'm now 41% of the way through. On, what day was it? Wednesday. I spent quite a bit of time packing up some stuff, took it over to the flat, and then was organising it all. And for that whole period of time, I was listening to this. So I had like 3-hour session where I was just like focused on it. Really enjoying this one as well. I do find that I connect a little bit less to audiobooks. Like I said how I did find that previously, is why I stopped listening to them. It's the same thing. However, at the same time, with a situation like this where I'm just so busy that I don't have the time to physically sit and read all the time, this has been so helpful. So I definitely think at least for another week I'm going to listen to another audiobook, and potentially it's one that I might do in future if I know I've got a really busy week coming up and I'm going to be doing lots of things. Like, this is a handy one to listen to, but I do find that I'm not connecting fully with it because I do miss little things here and there. But I am enjoying this book. So I'm at the point now where we've got Belle's perspective, so the girl that's been changed. So we see the first perspective of this doctor who finds out about this experiment that's taken place that his colleague has done. He's always kind of been in awe of his colleague from how smart he is, but also found him a little bit difficult to be around because he's not the best socially. And then he gets introduced to Belle, and he's told what happened to Belle, how he took this baby's brain and put it into the body of a mother, and how she's developing at such a fast rate, and all these interesting. So he becomes a bit obsessed and is like, right, okay, I'm gonna marry her. And then we have Belle's perspective, and Belle, well, she doesn't want to get married. Not yet anyway, and so she elopes, and you're seeing her perspective where she's learning the world, learning herself, learning sexuality and being frivolous, and just, but it's really interesting. But you also see how manipulative she is, and I like it. I definitely think it's one I want to physically read. I think I'm going to get a lot more from it, but it's enough that this audiobook is keeping me very entertained when I'm doing things, and I am finding that I'm engrossed in it, that I want to know what's happening next. And it feels like it's got this slightly almost sinister tone to it, which I'm really liking. But I can't quite put a finger on it because I am only listening to it. Which I know some people love audiobooks and find them really immersive. I struggle that little bit more with them, but like I say, it's been working really, really well for this week. So I don't think I'm going to get Poor Things finished this week. That's probably going to go into next week, in all honesty. Ideally, if I manage to finish both the books today, I'll probably wrap up the vlog tomorrow and then get a head start on the next one so that I can get into the books, because the quicker I can do this, the more chance I have of finishing the books on my TBR. And it's not like I feel like, oh, I have to finish them and rush read them. It's just I want to read them. I really want to get to them. I'm really happy with my TBR this month. I would love to get to as many of them as possible, but if not, it's fine. That's it really. I'm gonna do some editing and then do some lunch. I'm kind of obsessed with scrambled egg and cheese sandwiches at the minute, so I'm really enjoying those. So I'm probably going to have that for lunch. Read a bit more of both my books today. That is the plan. If I could finish both of these today, I will feel so happy with that. Definitely the book that broke the world, because this is, I mean, it's 40 pages left and I'm flying through the pages. I find myself reading this quicker. I'm just really enjoying it. So definitely want to take an hour before I go to work to finish that up, because that would be really good. So let's see how much I actually get done, whether I can finish the books today. But yeah, it's so good. Like, I'm really enjoying it. Anyway, right, let's not go on more tangents. Let's get on with the day, and I will catch up with you potentially tomorrow to wrap up this vlog. If not, then I guess we're gonna find out. But yeah, you'll have to let me know if you've read My Husband or Poor Things, or if you've seen the film Poor Things, because I know that's been a recent film that's come out. So you'll have to let me know, and if you've got, like I say, any French translated books that you would recommend, because I am really enjoying them. Right, okay, really I'm going to stop talking now, I promise. morning I did finish both books, which I'm very pleased with, so I'll get into that in a moment. Before that though, I have an art print from my sister for my birthday that I wanted to show you because it looks amazing. And I also got a book from a free library, which was just a win yesterday because it's a book that I've had on my wish list. And I thought I'd do a quick journaling update because I realised I haven't spoken about this in ages, and I do journal every single day. So I don't know if you remember way back, but I was like, I'm going to start trying this. I'm going to try and journal every single day and see how I get on with it. I've stuck with it. It has been 2 months of journaling every single day and it's been so good. So I started this because I was finding that first thing in the morning I'd be scrolling on my phone, or after an early shift I would just collapse on my bed and scroll on my phone. And instead I journal and I'm loving it. I've been a bit busier lately, obviously with the move and everything, so I've been journaling of an evening rather than in the morning, but I don't mind. Like, I like journaling both times, and sometimes I journal twice in the day because I've got more thoughts or something happened after I journaled in the morning and I really want to think it over. And that's what I've been finding so helpful about this. Is just a really good tool for me to process different thoughts and feelings that I have. Sometimes the entries are really short because I've just had a really good day and I just don't have much that I feel like I need to process. And then other times the entries are a lot longer because I've got a lot more on my mind, and I'm just finding it so helpful. It really helps me, like I say, just process everything and deal with things better, and I'm really loving it. And I also find that I go on my phone significantly less than what I used to, not just when I get home or first thing in the morning, but just throughout the day in general. I tend to be on Instagram scrolling so much less than what I used to, which I'm really happy with. Replying to comments, being active on Discord, things like that, like that's slightly different because I feel like I'm just messaging people, but I'm talking about the doom scrolling through reels and things like that. I just don't really do. I'm really happy with that. I'm really enjoying that. I feel so much better, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I just want to do a quick update for this because I realised I haven't really spoken about it, and I do journal in this every single day. I have a lovely new journal which has mushrooms on it. I really like this style. I got this from Waterstones and they had another version with mushrooms on it, which is currently at the flat because I think by the time I officially move in I would have just finished this, so it'd be perfect to start a new flat with a new journal. But yeah, I really like this size and I like this kind of vintagey feel to it, so I decided to get the mushroom version as well. But yeah, I really am happy with this. It's really worked, and as much as I do like other forms of journaling like vintage journaling and stuff, I do find that takes longer to do, and so I haven't been doing it as much. I don't know, it's just I did go through phases of the type I want to journal, and I'm finding that actually this is just great. I love it. But moving on, let's just go work our way through this stack, shall we? We have the print from my sister. This is actually for my birthday. It arrived early, but we tend to do gifts for each other a little bit earlier. Oh, look how amazing this print is. It's so gorgeous. Because she was asking me what I wanted, and I said, to be honest, I wouldn't mind something to decorate the flat with. Like, I love having a gallery wall, and she literally within 5 minutes was like, perfect, cool, I've sent it. It's like she had it prepped and ready. It is so amazing. This is actually printed onto a book page published in 1889, and it is awesome. So I'm really looking forward to putting this in a frame. I'm thinking to go with like a wooden frame. I think would look really nice. You can get loads of those from like secondhand from charity shops and stuff. So I think that's what I'm going to do with this one. So I'm very excited about that. Thank you so much. It's lovely. I have already said to her, but she's probably going to watch this anyway. So thank you again. And the book I got from the free library last night at work is The Wager. And this is by David Gran. This is a book I've had on my radar since my other sister mentioned it a little while ago. She said that she'd read it and really liked it. Yeah, it's been on my wish list for ages, and then I saw it just sat there in the free library and I was like, you're mine. You're mine. You're coming home with me. I'm so excited to read this. So this one is 1742. A ramshackle vessel of patched together wood and cloth washes up on the coast of Brazil. Inside are 30 emaciated men barely alive, survivors from The Wager, a British vessel wrecked while on a secret mission to raid a Spanish treasure-filled galleon. They have an extraordinary tale to tell. 6 months later, an even more decrepit boat comes ashore on the coast of Chile, containing just 3 castaways with their own very different account of what happened. The 30 sailors who landed in Brazil, they maintain, were not heroes, they were mutineers. As accusations of treachery and murder fly, Who is Telling the Truth? It sounds really good. I mean, this is one that I have been wanting for a little while, and I love all the photos that are in here. Like, I think it's just going to be a really good read. So yeah, I cannot wait to give this one a try. I actually started reading like the author's note and like the first line of the prologue while I was at work, and I was immediately engrossed. So yeah, very much looking forward to reading that one. Thought that was a brilliant find. But now let's move on to the reading news. Starting off with the book I finished first, The Book That Wouldn't Burn. I really liked this. I did like the ending. I stick to everything I've been saying because obviously I can't go into detail because it's the second book in a series, so I don't want to do any spoilers, but I stick to what I said, that this does feel a little bit like a touch of middle book syndrome. However, I still really enjoyed this book. I really enjoyed the world. I really enjoyed the characters. I'm intrigued to see how it's all going to wrap up in the third book, because I feel like in terms of plot, not a lot got developed. It was interesting and a lot of characters got information, but I don't think it progressed far in terms of plot. So it has me a little bit hesitant because, as I mentioned, Mark Lawrence has done this with his previous trilogy. I mean, he's done lots of other books with the previous trilogy that I read, which is the Red Sister trilogy. I liked, and it was actually thanks to Abby that I even remembered about this, because I messaged Abby when I got this book going, oh my god, have you seen how much shorter this is? Where she then told me, I'm not reading this series, but I did read the Red Sister series and that is what happened. And I was like, oh, good point, I'd completely forgotten about that. And it was kind of that way where I did like that series and I'd read the first book like 3 times, but I did find that the continuation of the series just didn't quite hold up to that first book. But it was interesting and the character work was really good, which is what I liked, and I feel like this series could potentially do the same in terms of the books don't hold up quite as strong to that first initial book. But I'm really intrigued to see where it's going to go anyway. This is still my favourite work by Mark Lawrence, and I'm really pleased I own a physical copy of this because I know I will reread this series. And as much as I reread Red Sister 3 times, I then only read each subsequent book once. Actually, maybe Grey Sister I read twice. Anyway, so it was good and I did like it, but I knew that it was never really going to be a book series that I reread, as in like reread it again from what I'd done. Like if I had to choose between the 2 series, like I love this series and this is the series that I would be focusing on. So yeah, so anyway, really long-winded way to say it could just be following Mark Lawrence's trait from his other book, but I did still really enjoy this because I love the characters and I'm so intrigued in this world. And you know, it's just, I like the different themes that it follows in this book in terms of war, and seeing how it's just a matter of perspective and, you know, information, how too much information can be detrimental, but at the same time not enough information can be detrimental, and it's just like this line that you're constantly trying to navigate. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. It was really, really good. Then I finished My Husband, and oh my god, the ending, oh, I loved it. The epilogue, fantastic. I loved it. It's really got me going, oh, now I really want to reread this book. It was really good. Like, I really enjoyed it. I did find that a lot of what was happening in the book was repetitive. We just have Ariane, our main character, becoming more and more unhinged about her husband and worrying that he is going to be leaving her, or where she has to check how much he loves her, or the punishments and stuff. So it did get a little bit repetitive in that sense, but it was so interesting. Like, I really enjoyed it. So yeah, overall really, really happy with this book. Thought it was really good. Definitely want to get a physical copy for my shelves eventually, because it was just one of those books that I just enjoyed. It was a really good time. So very happy I read that. And again, this is a book that I never would have got if it wasn't for 2 people talking about this book. It's definitely a book that I probably never would have picked up, never would have heard of, and I'm so grateful, thanks to Jan and Alexandra. I'm so pleased. I will have both their channels linked below. Amazing YouTubers. To be honest, you've probably heard of them because they're great. But yeah, honestly, so good. So pleased with this book. So there we are. I haven't listened to any more of Poor Things yet, but that's fine. I already said that's going to be going on into next week's vlog. But overall, a really good, productive reading week. Very busy because of how much I've been doing, but it's been a really good time. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. Let me know what you've been up to this week, if you've read any of these and what you have been reading. For now, if you've made it this far, then let's put an orange heart for my husband in the comments below. If you just don't know what you want to comment or want to show that you made it this far, you can leave a little orange heart. But I am going to go. So thank you so much for watching. I know I say it every time, but I mean it. I really appreciate each and every single one of you that takes the time to watch these videos. And if you have enjoyed it, then maybe consider giving it that thumbs up, subscribing, commenting. Those 3 things really help this channel grow. My social media links, anyone I've mentioned, will be linked below for you, and I will of course catch you in the very next video.